Wrapped in plastic. Wrapped in plastic.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the 5th episode of my body tracing tutorial series. In this episode, what we're going to cover is linear tracing or linear translation. It's when you trace from one point in your 9 square grid directly across to the other point. There are many ways to do this, too many to cover in even a couple videos. So what I am going to do is show you how to put these together and the different variations of single hand tracing so that you can explore it on your own and put together any kind of tracer that you wish to put together on your own. We're going to go for a classic trace. So when you start up top, and I'm going to start counterclockwise to my perspective, and it's on the front side, front plane. On a downbeat, I'm going to choose a downbeat and I'm going to drop that downbeat behind the shoulder, okay? So it's going to come like this. Like I'm going to just go into shoulder rolls. Okay, from the side, start from the front, I drop the beat behind my shoulder. From here, it's going to swing to the front and immediately shoot down to my toes. Okay? Looks like this. Okay. Now you can do this in the other direction as well. Works pretty much the same way. Yeah, and that's one version. You can do this in the other direction, like starting at the bottom. Starting in the counterclockwise now, up to the shoulder, and then up to the front, finish in the front. And you can do it in the other direction. And these direction changes and starting point changes can apply to just about all of these tracers, no matter where you start, no matter what timing and direction you're in. So first of all, for just like straight line translation, you have those 4 possibilities. 2 starting directions up here, and 2 starting directions up here. And that's just for top of the shoulder. We can also go under the shoulder, starting counterclockwise again, to the armpit and down. When you go to the armpit, in this case, you're going to come straight to the heels behind you for your final bottom down. I'll show you from behind. Here, and then to the front. You can also do this in both directions, armpit, down. If you change the direction, you end up at your toes. So keep in mind that throughout all these different variations, there are going to be certain details that are going to change depending on your timing and direction. So the best thing to do here is, if you want to flow freely through several different variations, practice each one so you're familiar with where you're supposed to end up, where you're supposed to be at any given point, depending on the timing and direction that you're in. If you're starting at the bottom here, if you're going to go under the armpit, most people usually start on the back side. Go armpit, to the front, and up. If you change the direction, it can be a little harder to get up into the armpit from the back side. So that's kind of what I was saying. Depending on the direction, you're going to want to change it. So in this direction, you would come from the front to go to the armpit. So that's your set of vertical tracer variations. And the same will apply for left hand, so make sure you practice it with your left. This is all pretty similar for the horizontal arrangement as well. You can start this way, and if I'm in counterclockwise again, armpit, back, and out. From here, I can just come to the top of the shoulder, like this, to the front and out. Change the direction. Top of the shoulder and out. Under the armpit now. So practice all these different variations with both hands. Make sure you get pretty comfortable with that. Other things to think about is using ideas that we've learned already in previous tutorials, like over here, behind the head. You can use that to come up. Instead of coming to the armpit, back and out, you can come behind the head, front, or behind the bed, and stay in the bed and go up. There's really a whole lot of options, and you can apply them accordingly to whatever suits your style or suits whatever pattern that you're trying to accomplish. I'm going to cover some classic tracers, things that you may or may not see pretty frequently. They're pretty popular, pretty easy. Spinning counterclockwise again, same time, same direction. I'm going to start with my right hand on top and my left hand on the bottom. From here, we're going to do, I think it was the first tracer I showed you, is the top of the shoulder, back side, and then down. The other hand is going to go also top of the shoulder to the back, and then up. And you're just going to bring them together. Before jumping right into this, unless you're already familiar with it, or you're pretty confident that you can get it the first try, a good way to think about this particular one, and actually it works for a lot of different tracers, is you're coming into double shoulder rolls like this. So you're just looking for that opportunity. Maybe you want to watch your right hand, and when it's ready to go to the back shoulder, like okay, snap into shoulder roll mode. From shoulder roll mode, watch your lead poi, which will be my right hand. I'm going to wait for it to have its opportunity to go down, because that's where it needs to go, right? So when it's ready to do that, bam, I shoot both hands out, and I've completed the tracer. Now you can reset by isolating, you can reset by doing an in-spin or extension, wherever you want to. You can reset and get back to the starting point. Man. I actually encourage practicing many of these resetting methods, because if you practice them, or if you do them in your practice, you'll be able to do them in your flow, and it just looks good that way. You know, you could just be practicing while showing off for your friends, and this could just look good all by itself. So practice those variations. I'm not going to cover too many of these actual patterns because it's just not enough time to do that. What I do want to cover is just the construction of this. All this is just two linear traces combined together, right? And this can happen over here as well. If you take these two starting points and you want to travel in a double straight line, you just take a look at how your hands are and find a way to make this trace happen so that they don't clash. You can come here like that, like you're going to do behind the head stall and an up stall. That's a good opportunity for you to come like this. So you're essentially here, there would be stalled. You're here, and then you just cross your arms out like that. And you can come back. So practice it a few times, just to get used to the planes and having your arms crossed. A few other ways you can do that is tucking under this left arm like that. There's many different ways that you can make these traces happen. So just explore your different options and whatever feels more comfortable for you. So as far as these alignment constructions, you have, you can start split with your hands split and trace like this. And likewise for horizontal, trace like that. You can also start with both hands in the same spot and trace down like this. I'll show you a few of those. If you remember in the first or second tutorial, we covered archer weave, and when we were doing our transitions like this, we covered that when you're forward, they're going to come under the armpit and shoot up this way. And now that you are in reverse direction, the poi would come to the shoulders. Well, this is going to apply here. That's going to apply here, and anytime that we're in forward doing just static spins like this, and split seam, you're going to start with a native hand, going to the armpit, and then the non-native, and then come out. Start with a native hand again to the top of the shoulder, the same concept applies when starting at the bottom, at the top. I like to take reverse direction, just kind of face it. And by facing it, I'm putting my right hand in back. So that sets me up to follow the rules of native hand first. And then when I'm forward, that direction, my left hand is in back. So it's now the native hand, armpit first, then down. You can also start and you can combine a vertical trace and a horizontal trace by just changing your starting points, picking an arrangement like this, or an arrangement like that, or here. But whatever feels more comfortable to you, I would try them all. And nothing is really a whole lot different here. You know, you can use the same native hand, goes to the top of the shoulder. You can use that for this particular situation. Right, left, over here. And then we're going to trace back, left first, right, and then. One thing you want to avoid, you'll probably notice it. If you don't do native hand first, they go right and then left. They tangle behind you. So you want to try to avoid that. Make sure you get the muscle memory for which hand starts first. Otherwise, you'll find yourself tangled. You may recognize this tracer. I just call it the G trace because G was the first person I saw do it, and I believe he's the one that made it popular. It's where you take I put my right hand back. You can do it with either hand back. You just start together, you trace upwards. Right hand comes up into the armpit. Left hand prepares to come over the top of the shoulder. And it's something that you'll notice about doing these traces and opposites is where when we're in the same direction, we go native hand goes top of shoulder and then left hand goes top of the shoulder. When you're in opposites, it will always be, or should always be, one goes under the armpit and one goes over. So in this position here, we're going right hand under, left hand over. We're going and doing a shoulder reel in opposites. And once they've switched sides, you shoot up. And then you do the same thing going down. For the way down, you're trading which hand goes into the armpit. So left hand would go under, right hand over. This applies for horizontal translation. Right hand goes under the armpit, left hand goes over its shoulder. This. And finally, the horizontal versus vertical. Same concept as usual, just going to demonstrate it. Right hand goes under the armpit, left hand goes over the shoulder. And then they change which goes over, which goes under on the way back. So that's about it for all these variations. vertical, horizontal. We covered vertical versus horizontal. You can always use diagonal as well. Diagonal is certainly not included here. I don't personally play with them much. If you would like to play with diagonal line tracers, then you go for it. It's going to be exactly the same as everything I've showed you so far, just different starting points. One thing that I will also point out, and I'll leave you with this for kind of a fun thought, is, and we covered this in the first one, where we traced to the center point and then went down. So I just want to affirm here that you don't have to go in straight lines. You can bend your lines however you want to. You can come from any of these outside points to the center and go anywhere you want to. I can start from over here, trace to the center. I can go up, I can go down, and I can go right out here. I can go here to the back. So wherever you want to go with it, you do that. And most importantly, just have fun with it.